Shore Show. Pat O'Melia here on the boardwalk in Seaside Heights, where you should be. And Seaside Heights fits into anybody's budget. Come down for a day trip, overnight, weekend, during the week. You got the motels. My kids have an apartment for rent there. They bought a house in Seaside Heights. Contact me, 1 week minimum rental. Come down, enjoy it. The beach is great, the ocean is great, the boardwalk is pristine. Come on down. If I see you, I'll buy you an ice cream. We're going to break for commercial, and we'll be back with Chris Vaz, the BA for the borough of Seaside Heights. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back. You're watching the Shore Show. Pat O'Melia here. Boardwalk, Seaside Heights, where you should be. My guest is the business administrator, authority on Seaside Heights for its history, Christopher Vaz. Chris, it's been a while you've been on the show. You were here like 5-6 years. I think when this book came out.
It could be. I wrote the book in 2009, and it was published in 2010.
You know, the first Shore Show was in 2010 when we did the show down there. I didn't realize we were doing this for 9 years. This is a great book. And you went out to YouTube later on, right?
Yes.
And you did, I guess it's about 22-minute long
It's pretty
piece.
long, yeah. It's got a lot of slides. It's like a slideshow that I uploaded to YouTube.
Now this is available it's still available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
But I'm out. Hold on. Let me get my kid's book in here. My daughter is also an author. Her book is also available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Somewhere along the line, we'll probably create a commercial for it. Yeah, it's really interesting. We have this in the North Bergen studio.
Yes.
And we have it in what we call the green room. You see everybody's always reading these things. They always ask questions about Seaside Heights. Now, you're born, I guess, Seaside Heights kid?
I've been here since 1960. I was born in 67. My parents moved here in 68.
You know, Dad is from Patterson, right?
Yes. I was born in Patterson General before they tore it down.
And you guys moved here. Why did Dad move down here?
They had vacationed here. My mother's parents, my grandparents, owned a house on Webster Ave in town. So they had vacationed here, and they loved it, and just wanted to be down here.
That's like my kids. They come down here, we go on vacation. They eventually bought the house on Hamilton, same deal, and they like being down here. So you grew up in Seaside Heights pretty much.
I did,
You like the beach and the border. What are the biggest changes in Seaside Heights in your lifetime?
Well, growing up, I knew just about everybody that owned a house in town. It was a year-round community. Growing up and going to the school here in Seaside, walking to school from my homes where I lived, I would know whoever had that house. They'd be on their front porch or in front of the house. You knew who they were. They'd say hi. And God knows, if you ever had any problem, you knew you could go knock on Mr. Smith's house or Mr. Pone's house, and they would take care of you because everybody knew your parents. They knew you.
It's so unique because I come from Jersey City, where we don't know anybody. The city's so big. But in this town, what is it? The population off-season is like 2,200?
22,
so
2,300.
So you really could get to know everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I think we had, I don't know if it was your son, I think we had your dad's grandchildren on last year, and they got a job in town.
Oh, my nephews, yeah.
I was kidding, like nepotism? There's nobody here when you apply for the job. You got 2,000 people. How many kids could be in town? You can't help but get a job here. But it had to be a great place to grow up.
Oh, it was awesome.
The beach, the boardwalk. I don't think you couldn't get tired of a beach and a boardwalk. Maybe get sick of playing the stand there. But there's the ocean and the beach. Great place.
It's the best office I can imagine having.
And you accomplished a life. From a kid who grew up in Seaside Heights, you became an attorney. Successful law practice. and for some reason or other you decided to come back to Seaside Heights as the BA?
I did not. I enjoyed being a lawyer. If I could spend all day in a library, a law library, researching and writing, but the practice of law was something I just didn't like. But I was lucky to find public administration, and I think I picked that up from my father. My father was a councilman for many, many years, and he was a school principal and a school superintendent. And I just know from growing up with him, he was always at a meeting, always reading a statute, always reading a proposed ordinance.
He's a hands-on council president or as now the mayor.
Yeah, very hands-on.
In all my years down here, no knock on the other guy, best mayor Seaside Heights has had. And how did he convince you to be the BA? Was there much convincing at the dinner table?
Well, I was actually appointed borough administrator before he became the mayor.
Oh, I thought it was the other way,
No, Billy Akers, the prior mayor, I was working for the state at the time, and when my predecessor announced he was going to retire, Mayor Akers called me up at my state office and said, would you have an interest in working for Seaside Heights? And he knew my background. I had been an administrator for 2 other towns. For 5 years and 6 years in those towns, and I was working at the state for 2 years at the time. And I was working with Seaside because it was after Hurricane Sandy and after the boardwalk fire, and I was actually assigned to Seaside Heights by my state office. So Mayor Akers said, I think it would be a great fit, and I did too. And I was fortunate for the opportunity to actually come work for my hometown.
Yeah. Come on home.
And I feel like I'm home every day that I come to the office.
Yeah, to live here year round, it's a great thing. I still go back and forth from Jersey City, but it's a great, as I enjoy, because I'll come down here, I'll work the Seaside studio Friday through Monday. So I'm here I'll come down Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I leave on Tuesday. I enjoy being down here. It's a different pace of life. Let me break for commercial. You're watching The Shore Show. My guest is Chris Vaz. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
We're back. You're watching The Shore Show, Boardwalk, Seaside Heights, where you should be. Listen, I come from Jersey City, an hour, 15 minutes. I'm looking at the beach and the ocean here. You can't beat that. Beautiful day, too. Make it part of your plan to come on down. Weekday, weekend, just come on down. My guest is still the business administrator, Chris Vaz. I got to get into your historic. We know how you became the BA, and you got your legal background. What got you interested in the history of Seaside? Because it is an interesting history. Because I look at it at first as tourism, but at one time, this was a year-round community. You had supermarkets, you had everything. Gas stations, car dealerships, sort of thing, car repairs.
3 bakeries.
And somehow, Seaside Heights got away from that. But I think your dad is trying to revisit that. So how do you get into the nostalgia and the history of it?
When I was working as the town administrator for Pemberton Township, out by the Joint Base, my new secretary at the time, literally my first day at work, handed me a very similar book, same publisher, it was the Browns Mills, New Jersey book. And she goes, if you're going to work for the town I live in, you need to know a little bit about Browns Mills and Pemberton. So she gave me their book, and I read it, and I fell in love with the history of Browns Mills and Pemberton Township. And at some point, I said, let me find out if there's a Seaside Heights book. I don't think so. I said to myself, I should know, because I grew up in Seaside. And I called the publisher, and they said they had been looking for an author to write a book about Seaside Heights, and they offered me the opportunity to write in their postcard book series. And that was about 2008. And I immediately went out, started canvassing the postcard shows, the antique and collectible shows, and building a lot of resources and talking to my friends in Seaside. They were giving me old photos and old postcards, and I developed the format for this book, and finally had the time in 2009 and 10 to put it together, and did it and got it done. And little did we know in 2010 that Seaside Heights would be essentially destroyed by a hurricane and a boardwalk fire. And
I remember both of those quite well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember at the fire, I was texting with your predecessor, John Cameron.
Sure.
Saying, how bad is it? And I seen the white smoke, and I texted John, oh, the worst is over, white smoke. The worst was not over. I don't know where the white smoke came from, but Cameron's like, no, it's not. It's pretty bad down there, Pat.
I was sitting in my office in Trenton when the fire just started, and I got a phone call from a good friend of mine, a fellow historian, Peter Smith. Peter said, Chris, there's a fire that just started on the boardwalk on the south end. You need to get here now. This is going to be as bad or worse than the 1955 fire. I left my office, and it was the same office where the Division of Fire Safety has their offices, and I literally followed Division of Fire Safety employees here. I got here in 45 minutes. Following them, they had their lights and sirens going. Peter thankfully called me, and he was right, unfortunately. It was as bad or worse than the 1955 fire. He was sitting at the sawmill as the fire was building, and he recognized the fact that the wind was blowing the way it was blowing. And he called me before it spread, and I got here in 45 minutes, thanks to Peter.
I was watching in my office the news. I guess I was watching News 12. They stayed right on it. Yep. They had the chopper up there, and you seen like Mike Cabone out there. He's got his garden hose. Actually, it worked for him too. It meant to save it. That was hellacious. But actually, you managed to document most of what was going on prior to the fire and Sandy.
Yes.
How do you? Are these neighborhood people who had these pictures? You got some postcards. Here you got some actual photography and some artist renderings.
Yeah, I was very close to a lot of the people that gave me resources. Leonard Ypres being one person. Leonard was the former public works superintendent, but he was also a chief of the fire department that I belong to for many years now. I also received a lot of information and photos from a person who's now deceased named Terry Grophy, who was friends with me through the fire company. Terry's now deceased, and after the book was published, when he passed away, his two sons called me up and said, we'd like to meet with you, and I met with them at one of the houses, and they gave me Terry's personal collection, which comes from the Tunney family. It was passed down from generation to generation, and I like to joke, but it's the truth. I have the history of Seaside Heights in my basement. And I'm getting ready to pass on a lot of that, if not all of it, to a new Seaside Heights Historical Society that we just formed.
We're going to get into. How long did it take to write this book?
About a year and a half.
What came first, the book or the YouTube piece?
The book. The research for the book, yeah.
But the YouTube piece, we're probably showing clips of it right now in the name. That was really well done. Who did that?
I did it.
You doing all the camera work on there?
I
would think you need a little more. My only criticism would be more commentary in there.
Yeah.
But it was really well put together, and I think everybody enjoys before and the after deal. That I enjoyed. You actually have my studio in there, the wonderful. Yeah. I didn't know there was. Now I know why there's two cracks in Central Avenue. You must still have the tracks.
The railroad tracks.
The tracks are still under there. All right, let's break for commercial. You're watching The Shore Show. Chris Vaz is my guest. He's got his book on Amazon, and we're going to talk about Carousel and the museum coming. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to newportng.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. newportnj.com. Newport, live like you want.
We're back. Shore Show. Seaside Heights on the boardwalk, where you should be. My guest is still Chris Vaz, author of his Seaside Heights book. Like I said, is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And you got the YouTube piece. How long did it take to, which I have an understanding of, how long did it take to put that piece together?
Oh, that took me weeks. You know, I'm not in your business, your profession. I had to kind of suffer through learning the software and.
What do you edit that on?
It was some sort of Adobe elements, photo elements or something. It's called
probably Premiere.
Yep. And I had to teach myself that. And sitting here today, I could probably do a much better job at writing a book and doing a video like that now, if time would permit.
It's an enjoyable video.
I appreciate that.
You did a great job. Like I said, I just asked for more commentary. So you're doing the camera work too, besides the editing?
Yep.
That's pretty good camera work.
Thanks.
Now, is there anything you miss in Seaside Heights from your childhood? Because you could see it was really almost a different town in the old days. It was really a 12-month-a-year community.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's the community you grew up in, basically, right?
Yep. I grew up when the Boulevard had a store. In every storefront there was a bakery or a drugstore, a newsstand, a food market.
How did we get away
tailor.
from that? Before we get into the Historical Society and the carousel, how did Seaside get away from that? Who made the decision?
Those stores were owned by residents. And as those residents grew older and passed away, their children and grandchildren just didn't want to stay and maintain that business and carry it forward. So we went from a year-round community to an investor community. And it just gradually, but we're where we're at today, and we're trying to change it to kind of refill those storefronts with people that are personally invested because they live here or live across the bridge, and really want to be part of the community rather than just owning a business.
This is really ground level entry here. You can actually make a business here, especially on the boulevard.
There is a lot of opportunity to run a business in this town.
And you got a good, aggressive administration with your dad. Your dad will bend over backwards to help anybody who wants to open a business here. And you got development going on. You have new construction, you have old stock, and you talk about an investment community, and somehow we got to flip that around. I read a stat, and I'm sure you read the same thing too. 83% of the properties in Seaside Heights is owned by out-of-towners.
Yes, absolutely.
So that somehow you got to, as you start developing parcels, like the most recent development with all the one-family homes.
Yep.
That's a great development there.
Yeah.
And you got the over 55 that just opened, the Walters.
Yep.
That changes. And if you get people who are going to be here year-round, then that starts giving business opportunity. You want to open that restaurant, that dollar store, a nail salon, whatever it is. The opportunity is here, and the bones are here of those businesses.
Yeah.
They're here, so you can actually open a business without a huge investment if you're inclined to. But yeah, this is ground floor.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity here.
And your dad and yourself, you're actually pushing that. But now you also tackled the carousel. Now I have to go on record. I wasn't in agreement with that deal, but like I told your dad in the taping, I guess a couple of years ago, the only person that was interested in that deal was your dad. He needed attraction. He needed rides. He needed something to attract tourism. And that, your dad was 100% behind. I didn't agree with the land swap, but it's worked out.
Yes.
And now you got the carousel. You have to disassemble it, renovate it, and move it, or you're going to try to renovate it in the site, and build a building around it.
No, we opened bids today, in fact, for the construction of what we call a pole barn, just a big structure to store things.
One of those steel structures, those arch things.
It's not going to be an arch. It's just it looks like a pole barn. It's like the old Amish style barn.
Well, give me a picture of it because we'll show it in the cut here. All right.
Well, we have one now. It's our production storage on Grant Avenue. So one of the councilmen, Lou DiGiulio, said, you know what, instead of spending $5,000 a month on commercial rent for 2 years, let's build something. That way we get to keep it when it's done for the carousel. So the plan right now is this storage building will be built by the middle of October. Carousel and Carvings based in Ohio is going to come in at the end of October, disassemble the carousel. It's going to be stored in this building, and I call it a working storage building, because while Carousel and Carvings is working on the machinery back in Ohio, we'll be working with Dr. Moreland, whom the carousel is named after, and a group of volunteers to start restoring the carved horses. We've got 2 years to do it. We've applied for 2 major grants in the meantime to the state, and we're working on other grants that literally, as I sit here. And in 2 years, we're going to move it back to its new house. It's going to be a pavilion designed after what the first carousel pavilion looked like down on the south side of town in the early 1900s. Put it there, rebuild it. We'll have a little museum, a little gift shop, and find ways to make it self-sustaining and generate revenue to help recover costs.
All right, let's break for commercial, and we'll get into how people can donate and become part of that. All right, you're watching The Shore Show. Chris Vaz is my guest. We'll be right back.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
Pen and Pencil Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at penandpencilproperties.com. Pen and Pencil Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Back, you're watching The Shore Show. Pat O'Melia, Seaside Heights Boardwalk. You should be here. We got some ice cream right over there at Coors. My guest is still the BA of the borough of Seaside Heights, Chris Vaz, and we're talking about a huge undertaking, moving that carousel, moving it to another site, restoring it. I have some experience. I'm with the Lowe's Theater in Jersey City, and we restored that theater, and I can only equate restoring the organ in the theater as to restoring their carousel. That one organ, and it's a big organ, that had to take 5 to 6 years. And the Garden State Organ group would come in, 2-3 days a week and work on it 10 hours a day. And it took them years. But there were so many parts of this thing. Yeah. And then finally when it's done, it's like one of those Phantom of the Opera organ, Yeah. Now they have organ concerts there. That's got to be on that scale. All those horses, all the woodworking and all the various universals, and I don't know what kind of motor system is in there. It's got, how old is that? 100 years?
Oh, it's we think it was built in 1910.
You got schematics in this? You got the blueprints of this thing?
No.
Are there blueprints?
There aren't. So what happens is
that's got to be fun when you start taking that apart.
Well, when Carousel and Carvings starts to disassemble it, they will literally draw on sheets of paper the parts and how they're connected. They give each thing a part number so that when they go to put it back together in 2 years, they have their own hand-drawn schematic drawings to be able to do that.
Isn't that called reverse engineering?
Yes.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did the town get involved in saving the carousel? Why was it to save it? Why was that so important to Seaside? We lost one at the Fun Town with the fire.
If you look at the town's official logo, it's been a logo for years. It's a shield that's broken into 4 separate sections. A carousel horse is part of the official town logo. That's how the town started, with the carousel and the carousel horses at Freeman's in about 1915. That's how Seaside got its start. Seaside's history has been connected to a carousel and carousel horses since 1915. So when the land swap was proposed, And at some point after that, the owners of Casino Pier were thinking about selling the carousel at an auction.
I remember, I think they canceled the auction that day.
The auction was canceled because the town said to them, if you throw the carousel into the deal and sweeten the deal, we'll consider a land swap. And that's how it kind of, the deal transformed and the borough became the owner of the carousel. And there's not a lot of examples of that nationally where a town or a city owns its own carousel. There is, but not a lot. So that's how it developed, and as it stands today, the borough owns that carousel. It's a work of art.
Did anybody ask the Serenos if you can throw in a little money to restore?
Well, they're actually paying for.
Are they? Okay.
The Casino Pier owners, the Serenos, are actually paying to disassemble it and then reassemble it back at its new location.
Oh, that's a big help.
That's part of the deal.
What kind of price from beginning to end, from the restoration to moving, restoring, building a structure, a permanent structure around it? What is the bottom line cost on that?
If we
Estimated.
did every repair that carousel and carving says needs to be done, it's a
Now, I'll tell you something. It needs to be done.
It's a $1.5 million.
You start taking something out, all the parts, like my '64 Dodge, that never stops sucking money from me.
Right.
That's one of them. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of surprises in there.
Right.
And there is going to be a cost. Now, how you raise it? You applied for some grants.
We applied for some big grants, but there's going to be cash match for those grants. So we recently formed a nonprofit organization, the Seaside Heights Historical Society. So we have a board. We just started recruiting members and volunteers. Dr. Moreland is, as of last night, the president of this organization. But we also set up a fundraising website through fundraiser.com. It's fundrazr.com/Seaside Heights Carousel. We've been generating some good donations. We've had people donate $10 and we've had people donate $1,000. So far we're just getting out of the horse is just getting out of the gate. We're very excited. We discussed last night planning a reception the week before the carousel's disassembled, and our board's been floating around a lot of great ideas to fundraise to do this. We're going to be taking ads out in national magazines, going after that person that's sitting back at their house, that person that's got deep pockets that says, I want to help restore this carousel. I'm going to write a check for 10 grand or 25 grand or more, hopefully.
If we can just reach the people who come to Seaside Heights summer after summer,
Yeah.
generations after generation, get $10, $15.
Absolutely.
Now, we'll have all the information under the screen here. If you want to do any PSAs in the studio, social media pieces, or you want to do a telethon or whatever, we're here to help. It's going to be a major undertaking.
It is a major.
And what is the time frame? 2 years?
2 years.
2 years? You feel good on that time frame? You think that's going to happen?
I passed out to the board last night beach ball styled stress balls. I said, we all need a stress ball. This one's at least shaped like a beach ball.
Anything we can do to help, you got the studio. All right, my guest, Chris Vaz, the VA, and who's taking on a huge responsibility. You're part of the group, right?
I'm on the board.
Taking that carousel apart. You're seeing it right now, I hope. I'm Pat O'Melia, Chris Vaz. You be good, you be safe. Come down to Seaside. Get an ice cream. I'll talk to you later. Good night.